Welcome to another episode of The Business Catalyst. I'm your host, Angel Sanchez, and today it's my honor to welcome a new resident of Riverside, the new president of La Sierra University, Dr. Kristen Arthur. Dr. Arthur joins us from Andrews University in Michigan, where he made the trip just on July 1st and joined the university here. Now, La Sierra University is one of three major universities we have here in the city of Riverside, and it dates back to 1922. So once again, it's my honor to welcome Dr. Arthur to the Business Catalyst.
Thank you very much. Good to be here with you.
Wonderful. So you came to us from Michigan. The weather's a little bit different, I imagine, but yes. You came from Andrews University in Michigan, about 10,000 students. And tell me a little bit about that journey.
So Andrews University, about 10,000 students. Half of those, about 5,000 of those, are taking classes for a degree. But we also have students there who take classes for certification or continuing education, or other kinds of guest students. So in any given year, 10,000 students enrolled at Andrews. And I moved to Andrews in 2010 from Tennessee State University.
Yeah.
So, about 10 years in Nashville. So the heat here is not uncommon, So yes, 10 years at Tennessee State and moved through the ranks there and then moved to Andrews in 2010.
Excellent. Well, you'll love the winters here. It's a little warmer when you came, but the spring, winter, and even the fall are wonderful. And originally you're from Grenada, correct? Or Grenada?
From Grenada, yes.
And so that was a little bit of a journey here.
Some of our journey in 1998, I journeyed from Grenada to the U.S. to complete my doctoral studies. And it's a bit of a journey. Grenada is not known for its size in terms of land mass. It's a tiny island, 25 miles long, 12 miles wide.
Wow.
If you fly too quickly, you miss it. It's a little speck of dust in the Caribbean Sea. I grew up there, and I grew up as the son of a single mom. I grew up as a Catholic, and a very strong single mother whose influence still shapes my life even today.
Wonderful. And we've talked before, and your story is incredible. I wish we had more time to go over it because it really is a fascinating story. But today, for the sake of our business customers, I want to talk a little bit about a number of different things the university is doing, that you're doing to prepare both students and businesses for success. But one of the things that we recently talked about was kind of the multi-generational aspect of business nowadays, from baby boomers through Gen Z and so forth. It's really, as you mentioned, kind of the first time in history that so many different generations were in the workforce together. What do you believe are kind of some of the key strategies for a business leader or business leadership to kind of effectively recognize and manage those generational differences?
Yes. It's the first time in U.S. history that basically we have 5 generations within the workplace. The traditionalist, and that's the smallest group. That's the group that preceded the baby boomers. So the traditionalists, the baby boomers, and then we have the gens, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, they account for just under 75% of the workforce. So it's the largest block of those 3 generations. And that's the group that I think we have to leverage, and it's an opportunity for us as business leaders and businesses to leverage the capacity of that group. One of the ways in which we need to do that is to ensure that that group of people who are the ones who also attend college have a chance to engage in what I call job-embedded learning. So while they are at college, businesses should open up the doors so that the content knowledge that we provide so well at universities, they find ways to apply that and to use that even while they're in college within our business sector. Mentorships. We have to do a better job of mentoring those persons so that they understand the culture, but even the vocabulary of our businesses. Internships. When our students who are still part of the Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z generation, they're with us at colleges, universities, to make sure that there are internships where they become embedded into the culture of organizations, because we want there to be an easy flow of communication.
So you mentioned internships and apprenticeships, and how is La Sierra University working to collaborate with business leaders throughout the city or even the region for that matter to really kind of develop apprenticeships and or internship programs that provide students really kind of that real world experience that they need, but also provide some talented potential, we'll call it the Farm League, for the business community?
Good question. So at La Sierra, we have an Office of Career Services, and that is the hub that helps us to connect students to businesses. That Career Services Office. We need to do a better job at that to become more intentional about making those connections. One of my a vision of mine is that every student who graduates from La Sierra University would have had at least one internship, because knowledge should not be confined to simply the intellectual realm. It has to be experiential learning. So what they learn in the classroom, to be able to apply that in real life, real world settings, not simply having case studies that might be a little bit contrived, sometimes a little bit concocted, but in real life settings to have those applications happening. So to do a lot better at that, but we have several of our disciplines or majors where it is part of the requirement for the degree that students have an internship. And we want to become better at that because we think it adds value to the student, but it also adds value to the business, because the students are coming into your businesses with the most current information. Because at universities, we provide cutting-edge, current research content that the students can then bring to organizations. So they bring that currency to the organization, to your businesses, and you give them a chance to apply that, and they, by applying what they have learned in a real-life setting, grow as well. It's a win-win, really.
So how does a business in the area go about, developing the partnership with La Sierra University? Do they reach out?
Reach out, and we'll reach out to you as well. So when we send a text or make a call or send an email, respond to us. Let's create partnerships. Because at the end of the day, I think it's a win-win. We both lift. We help lift you because our students are bringing fresh ideas into the workplace, but you lift as well because as they experience learning in a real-world setting, they also go and thrive.
Excellent. All right. Well, and of course, those watching the show today know that La Sierra University is ready to go with a great talent pool that we can get into their businesses quickly. So,
absolutely.
Wonderful. Now, you talked a little bit about the students being prepared for the workforce.
Yes.
And technology moves truly at the speed of light. Things are changing so quickly.
Yes.
As the business world is becoming what I would consider more complex, especially because of the speed to market for items and things like that. What strategies does La Sierra University have to really kind of help equip both your students as well as potential business leaders with the skills and knowledge necessary to enter the workforce and kind of hit the ground running?
Thank you. I'll mention a couple. One way in which we stay connected to the business community is that we have advisory councils, and they're really business advisory councils. So we invite to serve on those councils business persons, and what they do is to bring in the latest development from industry, because they sit on that council, or faculty who are expert in the knowledge. They've done research to find the current content So they'll bring that currency of content because they serve on that council. The business persons will bring the currency of innovation and ideas. And as we serve on that council together, we make sure that we understand each other's perspective, and we bring that. It's like a flow of richness from both sides, and that enables us as a university to make sure that our curriculum reflect both.
Sure.
The currency of expertise from our faculty, but the expectations and innovations from the business community. So that the advisory council, critically important. And we talked before about internships, critically important as well, that our students have a chance to be interns within the business sector. So we are open to the ideas of our business community, because what we want to ensure is that every student, as they graduate from day one, they're ready. They can walk into that marketplace, they can walk into that industry, they can walk into that business community ready from day one. And those partnerships will help create that possibility.
Excellent. And that's as somebody that's hiring people, that's what we're looking for.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't want a year to bring them up to speed.
That's correct.
You want them to come prepared.
That's correct.
All right. Well, so we often think about students, the transition, from K-12 to college or university to the workplace. But many of us, myself included, went to the workplace first.
Oh.
And so tell me a little bit about the programs La Sierra University has for those working adults returning to get to further their education.
We need to become better at that as well. So we would have persons like you who would have gone to the workplace first, and to have to skill up, if you will, to provide intensives where particular content areas that are of interest to you, we provide those, as it were, on demand. Because we can't quite expect you to show up for a class at 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. You're still embedded in your workplace. But how do we provide coursework and content on demand for you so that you do not have to adjust your schedule and your work life to meet our expectations? How do we adjust our schedules to meet you where you're on demand? And we're working on that, become much better at that. So to talk about evening classes, night classes, weekend classes, taking education where the adult student is online. We have to help make education become more of a democratic opportunity. Meet you where you are, take you where you are, taking La Sierra into the field, as it were, and not expect that every student will be able to uproot their lives and come spend 4 years with us. And stay tuned. We'll have much more opportunities where we'll meet the business community where they are and take education to them.
Excellent. Well, as a business focused show, we're looking to help our businesses to grow and to thrive. And I think La Sierra University is definitely preparing the future workforce, creating the partnerships, and then also developing the innovation through the partnerships with the businesses to understand what it is that they need. And I'm very appreciative of that, because I think it's an important part. Sometimes university or the academics don't necessarily interact with the business community.
Yes.
And so you have the preparation of material going on in a vacuum. And it's good to hear. And that was the reason I wanted to invite you today, is because I know that you're doing everything you can to remove that vacuum and create a true partnership where it's a value-added approach for both the student and the business.
And that's a key phrase, value added. You know, we want to add value to the lives of the students that we serve. And you should know that at La Sierra University, 51% of our students are Hispanic. And just as significantly, a large proportion of our students are first generation to college. And we are the most a diverse university west of the Rockies. And this is a teaser. By the time we publish, it might become public knowledge. The U.S. News and World Report, which does this ranking of universities nationally, has listed last year in the top 10 for adding value.
Wow.
We add value. So when our students come to us, whether they're 18-year-olds or persons who went to the workforce and come to us at 30, 40, 70, 90, 110, whatever age you want to come to us, we're known for adding value. So we'll add value to you, we'll help lift you to what you want to become, and you shall not be the same person once you've come to our classrooms.
That's incredible, and it's so important. I want to thank you, Dr. Arthur, for coming out today.
My pleasure.
I want to welcome you again. I think my 5th time welcoming you to the city, but we're so glad to have you here, and your words are both inspirational and value added. So
It's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you for joining
to be
us
part of the Riverside community.
wonderful.
So much.
Well, as Dr. Arthur said, La Sierra University, one of the great universities we have here in the city of Riverside, is preparing the future workforce, and they're looking to partner with you as a business leader. So please make sure to reach out if you're ready to either serve on a council in a business partnership relationship, or bring on one of those apprenticeships or interns. So thank you for watching today, and we hope you get out there and help your business thrive. I'm very excited because I have my own city council member, Stephen Robillard from Ward 3, joining us. He's only been with us for a few months, but it's been an exciting few months. And one of the key reasons I've asked him to join us here today is because he's the chair of the Economic Development Committee. So thank you for coming out here today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you coming out today. And so, as you know, our show is about business development, and the city plays a very key role in helping businesses to thrive. And so I wanted to talk a little bit today about your role in the economic development and what the city's doing to kind of help prepare businesses. So I know within the vision, there are 5 areas of excellence. So I guess let's start talking about that.
Sure. Yeah, we had an economic development summit about a year ago, and we had experts from around the region who came to Riverside to kind of give us insight on where we can be competitively on the economic development market and what makes us unique and how we can emphasize those strengths. And the first one is arts and tourism. It's in our name, the City of Arts and Innovation. And we have a lot of museums here. We have the Cheech. We have 4 universities. We have the thriving mural program, and having strengthening that arts program is a big part of a long time focus that we've been working on at the city. The tourism part is kind of a newer part. We have the Historic Mission Inn, we have the Festival of Lights, but there are other things we can do year round. And so we're looking at ways that we can emphasize visiting Riverside instead of just being a drive-through on the way to somewhere else. And there's a lot of things that are coming up. There's things we can't talk about yet, but they're in the works, and we're really excited about where we're coming from a tourism perspective. The other one is aerospace and engineering. Since World War II, aerospace has been a huge industry in Southern California and Riverside specifically. The airport, everything, that whole region around the airport was all at one point making parts for the war effort for the airplanes. And we are looking to strengthen that as our competitive advantage, and that is that aerospace is born and raised in Southern California, and you can't really do it anywhere else. And so we're looking to expand that manufacturing process here in the city. We have Collins Aerospace, Prism Aerospace, Accuturn. We have several big businesses that are the suppliers for the Northrop Grumman's, Boeing Corporation, those big aerospace companies. We have all the smaller companies that feed into that. And so we're looking to expand that and help with workforce training in a lot of ways, because just like a lot of industries, aerospace technicians are a very short supply. And so we're looking to partner with the local community colleges, the local high schools, and at the Riverside Airport, and create these programs for specifically aerospace technicians. We are also CBU, and as well as 4 other flight schools at the Riverside Airport that is funding, or we're creating jobs and training for the pilots and the pilot shortage we have in the nation. Another thing we have is medical and life sciences. Obviously, we have the UCR School of Medicine that is growing and expanding, and the research capabilities that is going to bring is exciting. And this would be a new area for Riverside, is the medical and life sciences research and development, more on the development side or the manufacturing side. And as these manufacturers are looking for space, we have the space and we have the workforce for that. Green technology. This is something that is really exciting. Ever since we brought the CARB, California Air Resources Board, to Riverside, that was a really big deal, and is kind of create between them and UCR, we are becoming the incubator for a lot of new and emerging green technology. And as that green technology comes on board, we are looking to have them stay here and start creating their new technology here instead of going to the coast or going somewhere else. And there's kind of a lot of assets in the area that are helping us be unique and competitive in that green technology space. And also finally, it's just general technology. We had the Barnes Engineering. We have a lot of schools here that have engineering departments that Barnes sponsors. And general technology is a growing field. It'll always be a strong market, and it's just going to be more competitive in that.
Great. So that's 5 exciting things.
Yes.
I do love the approach on the tourism too, because I think we hosted a summit years ago. We had people from 20 different countries, and this was a good home base. They were able to visit, Joshua Tree and a couple of other areas within an hour or two, but then they were able to come home and put their feet up in a wonderful city with a lot to do in the evening. And so that's great, the approach towards that. You're right, engineering, all of these different programs, aerospace, CARB. We have 2 military bases within a few minutes. This is really the hub of technology for the future. And I know we recently had Treasurer Ma on here, and she talked about really kind of the heartbeat of California, and what has the potential to take us out of some of the issues we're having as a state is right here in the Inland Empire, and specifically Riverside. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. I love that. Well, let's talk a little bit about Ward 3, our home. Just in the month of July of 24, was it 26 new businesses you told me?
Yeah, 26 new businesses, which is amazing to see that. And it's exciting to, as a city, when businesses are decided to open up, that's a good sign. That means they have a positive future in mind. They see potential in the city, and they see it's worth investing in. And so the more of these that we have every month, that's a good indicator that people are excited and want to invest in Riverside.
Absolutely. And we're seeing that across the city.
Yeah.
So Ward 3 obviously has had some tremendous growth. In July, I think it's an exceptional month.
Yes.
But we're seeing that throughout. And I think really that has a lot to do with the benefits of doing business in Riverside. And Riverside sits in a unique place, especially in the state of California. Can you share with me a little bit about the benefits that the city has for businesses to either relocate or to expand here?
Yeah. So, I mean, as everyone knows, since COVID, companies and the economies are not regional anymore. These companies are looking for the competitive advantage, and they're willing to spread out further from where they used to be. And so now, instead of just competing for the region, we're competing across the nationwide now. And California has its regulations. It's not the most business-friendly state, but as far as what we could do here in the city, we're probably the most business-friendly city in the state. And one of the competitive advantages we have is we own our own utility company. And because we own our utility company, we actually have some of the most affordable rates for water and electricity in the entire state. And as these companies are looking for places to put their manufacturing, they're going to have huge electrical draws or huge water draws. That's going to be they're going to be saving millions of dollars a year by being located in the city of Riverside. So we're looking to promote that, emphasize that. One of the things that we're doing also is a lot of city council, we're taking a more direct approach to attracting businesses. We had a huge team that went to ICSC this year in Las Vegas, which is a big convention for retail and commercial stores. And, having elected officials at these events, meeting with these corporations and these business owners, it's a really big deal. That is not something you see every day. And so for these businesses to have a city that is pro-business, that is forward-looking, that is being proactive to ways that we can help you. We had the one-stop shop. We have an economic development team that will help you site select, work through the whole process as needed. And we're having a huge overhaul of our planning department, and I'm really excited about what we're seeing there.
Excellent. So really, there's a tremendous number of benefits, both within the city and the county of Riverside. And really, the core of this show is about helping businesses to access that and to become aware of that. As a city council, it's good to see such a business focused approach. And you've only been on the council a few months now, but it seems like it's been a few years from all the activity. So I appreciate that as having you as my council member. But what else? Like within the city, I think geography plays a role. We have major highways that go through here, rail, the airports, and there's so many different things. You'll hear me say this time and time again as a manufacturer that ships all over the world. We don't have snow days. We don't have things like that. Yes. So the weather, it's a little warm this month, but it really doesn't affect the ability to get product out the door.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know this, but 40% of all goods that go through the U.S. come through Riverside. And the same reason why the citrus industry thrived here wasn't just the weather, it was location. And that's the same reason this could be our success in the future. And, our region, people feel it because of traffic every day, but it is the second fastest growing region in the entire country, second only to Maricopa County. And businesses are paying attention to that. You have a huge influx of workers, high skill workers, as the housing becomes more and more unaffordable on the coast. People are coming here and they're bringing their talent and their ideas with them. And we're looking to capture that. We have 4 universities here in the city, or 3 universities and a community college that's excellent. And putting all these pieces together and having them all work together is something that we're trying to do for the first time. I think there is, the leadership of all these different things we all have these different goals, and a lot of times they align. And so if we can all just get together on the same page and kind of unite those goals, we're going to see a lot done. And the business community in the area, especially these bigger companies that are looking for places to put down roots, they see the energy in the city. They can see there's a change. They can see that we are on the cusp of something great. And you hear a lot like, oh, it's just around the corner, right? Well, I think people are seeing it. We're not around the corner. We're turning the corner and we're going on the other side. And it's really exciting to see.
Excellent. Well, that's exactly what I was looking for and why I asked you to join me today. Some great information. I love the 5 areas of excellence. I think it's, it's important for any strategic leader to really kind of have it laid out. You have to have a roadmap of where you're going. And the fact that those areas are viable and really authentic, I think is really the recipe for success.
Yes. Absolutely.
So I want to thank you again for joining us here today and for all that you're doing, as well as the rest of the council members to move our city forward, and the mayor. And, would look forward to having you back on the show where you can share another maybe 26 or 50 success stories.
Yes.
Well, thank you again for coming out here today and for spending your time. I know you're busy. I see what's going on out there. And it's an honor that you took the time to spend this morning with me today.
Absolutely. No problem. Thank you.
Well, as you heard, city's got a lot going on, both on future development as well as areas of opportunity for those who are already in business here. And so stay tuned because a lot of exciting things are coming down the pipe. My next guest today is Sonia Kariakos with the State of California Department of Rehabilitation. So as an employer who works with a number of people in the neurodiverse community, I'm very excited to have somebody from the Department of Rehabilitation, or DOR, join us here today. And Sonia, thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about what the DOR does.
Yeah, so the Department of Rehabilitation is a California state agency that helps Californians with disabilities find employment opportunities. And so by helping our job seekers achieve more fulfilling and independent lives, we're also creating more equitable workplaces and overall more inclusive society. So the DOR provides services to our job seekers like career counseling, career exploration. We even go over benefits planning for any job seekers that are receiving any sort of Social Security and disability benefits, really educating them on how receiving wages could impact their benefits and their overall income. We provide interview prep, resume writing classes. We really teach, we do a lot of soft skills workshops, really preparing the job seeker for that when they do enter the workforce, they're just an exemplary employee.
Excellent. So I guess one way to look at it is you're actually doing a better job preparing the next workforce than is traditional. And so most people enter the workforce haven't had the benefit of all these services. And so you're going a step above to help prepare them.
Right. That's so very true. And it's something that I appreciate you bringing up, because I think a lot of businesses do have that hesitation when hiring from a pool of candidates that may have some sort of a disability. They don't fully understand their capabilities and their abilities, but our counseling team really takes the time to identify what their capabilities are and what their strengths are. And that's what we build upon. And then we also identify barriers to employment, and we address those as well.
Well, I can speak personally from our relationship. So our company and the Department of Rehabilitation has been working together for several years. We're about 30% of our workforce is neurodiverse, and majority, if not all, were through the partnership. And so whether it was with the Department of Rehabilitation or the Inland Regional Center, they were all individuals that had been utilizing your services and came to work for us. And I can say this, and I know this is a national statistic too, but just keeping it summary level: never call in sick, never late, no drama, which is my favorite thing. We have very high attention to detail, very low defects, highest safety record, knock on wood. We haven't had an incident yet in all the years that we've been doing this. They're honestly the most ideal employees. And
Right.
You guys do a wonderful job of preparing them. But the reality is that there's a stigmatism that is undeserved. And from a P&L perspective, from a business leader, it's the best financial decision you can make, because loyalty, we have never lost a single person that joined us through our program. And, when you think about what are the key metrics that you should be looking for as a business, this is the ideal workforce.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
You guys have done a wonderful job in preparing that.
Yeah, thank you so much for mentioning all of that again, because it's businesses like yours that really do pioneer this type of advocacy and really educating businesses, because I think that's what's missing is just the education piece. And where better to come from than from a business who is building it into their model and taking such great steps, to achieve that model.
Sure.
Yeah,
We
thank
started
you.
with one person.
Yeah.
It was almost an altruistic thing. We wanted to create an opportunity for someone and realize that was the best decision we ever made. And so it's just built into the fabric of our culture now. And there's several other businesses that we work with that are seeing the same success.
Yeah.
And so I would encourage every business that is in the city, the county, the state, the country, the world for that matter, to really redevelop your thought process, because we do have a wonderful pool of people. I think last study showed over 500,000 individuals in the Inland Empire available for work that face those obstacles and those barriers to employment, and it's needless. You can't put a workers wanted post out there and complain about not being able to fill it, because I know you have plenty of candidates
Yes.
who are perfect to fill these positions.
Yes, and I do partner with other agencies like the Riverside County Workforce Development, and I offer that. If they're looking for ideal candidates, I've got them.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So in addition to honestly having the perfect candidates for businesses, there are some other incentives, some other benefits to hiring candidates that are through the Department of Rehabilitation. Can you share some of this?
Yes, thank you. Yes, so the Department of Rehabilitation currently is offering two programs. One is the on-the-job training stipend, which helps to offset training costs to businesses when they hire from our pool of candidates. And that can be up to $4,999, just under $5,000. And so the expectation with the on-the-job training, of course, is, they have hired this job seeker, and that they retain them afterwards if they're doing, their job appropriately. So our adult work experience program is a 100-hour work experience where our job seekers come in and are provided the opportunity to be in the workplace, gain experience, see if they're best suited for the task that we've put them in there for. And the work site is not the employer of record. The DOR and its vendors handle everything like the wages and workers' comp.
Excellent. So it's really a kind of a no-risk situation then. So a minimal investment of time gives you the opportunity to kind of, have a trial period with a candidate, make sure it's a good fit for them. And then, of course, it's a good fit for your company. And we've utilized it on a number of occasions and kept almost everyone that's come through on the program. And so we've seen a lot of success from that. And it really is, from a bureaucratic perspective, it's not that challenging for the employer, which I think is important to all of us as small business leaders, is don't give me too much work to do because we don't have the time. And so you guys make it quite easy.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you touched on, not sometimes retaining them after the work experience. There really is no obligation to retain them. We simply are looking for work sites to provide that 100 hours of experience. And then you also touched on how employers sometimes don't have time for certain tasks. And that's really what I like to go into businesses and really get to know their day-to-day operations, where maybe they could use a little bit of help. And they're always so grateful when I tell them about our program and how it's really a win-win situation, how we can bring in one of our job seekers to maybe get to the tasks that they're not able to get to on the day-to-day because they're busy running their business.
Right.
So
there's some other services that we've been able to utilize that really have helped job coaches through various service providers. I believe that is a function of the Department of Rehabilitation as well. Can you share a little bit about that? Because sometimes the risk is time, and especially if you're a smaller business, it might be a little bit too much time. But there is the opportunity to potentially have job coaches for eligible candidates to join us. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I know you said it perfectly. For eligible candidates, just depending on the circumstance, our counseling team helps to determine if they do need some extra supports when starting a position somewhere. And we do want to make it as seamless as possible for the employer and for the new hire, help them to gain confidence and experience also while assisting the employer.
Excellent. Well, it's such a vital thing. It's been a wonderful thing for our organization, but the reality is, from a community perspective, 1 in 36 nationally being diagnosed as being on autism spectrum. California, I think it's 1 in 22 is even what I'm reading. Over 56% of children with autism live in poverty. Yeah. They don't need to, though. We have so much opportunity to create that social mobility. And as I mentioned earlier, it's a success profile that every employer wants. And so we appreciate everything that you guys are doing to enrich the lives of those individuals that are within your program. But I think maybe even more importantly, it's to educating employers like us on the benefits of and really addressing those workforce solution issues that we have. Also, being on the Workforce Development Board, we see that employers, companies are either moving or they're challenged with growth because they can't get enough workforce, they can't get enough employees in. And this is a great opportunity for that.
Yeah, right. I agree. I mean, the resources are out there at every level. I mean, I didn't really touch on this, but there's also all the tax incentives that businesses can benefit from as well, right? So that you can offset some of your federal tax liabilities and even get some tax credits to help with any sort of accommodations in the workplace that you've provided. So, I mean, the resources are definitely in place. So
excellent. Well, accommodations, I want to touch on that a little bit because I think that's also a misconception, is that we're going to have to make a tremendous number of accommodations. And that's not really the case. I mean, sometimes you tweak things a little bit. most of what we've had to do is utilize different methods of training. But it's also the adult learning theory concept. Everybody learns a little differently. Maybe videos is the way you learn, or reading a book, or watching something done. We found it's the same thing. It's no different. I think I think we went into it thinking we're going to have to make all these wild accommodations, and that's not the case at all. It's almost inconsequential, both financially and even from a time perspective. You're not really, in most cases, having to make very many accommodations. But I will say that when you do have to make accommodations, you guys have always been very helpful in helping us to kind of circumvent that. Or not circumvent it, but navigate that. So thank you for all that you do. And thank you so much for coming out today and sharing your program. And how does someone go about really engaging and sharing that they are open to hiring this wonderful workforce?
Yes, so they can just go directly to our website, which is, dor.ca.gov, and there is a tab on there for businesses to learn more about our incentives and our programming, and then they can just call the number. Excellent. Yes.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming out today. We appreciate you taking the time, and I know as an employer that works with you on a regular basis, I very much appreciate all that you guys do.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was really an honor to come here and talk with you. Again, a pioneer of such a great thing that you're doing. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Well, we know that an inclusive workforce leads to incredible success in your business, and having the opportunity to be an employer of record that's worked with the Department of Rehabilitation for many years, as I said earlier, it's a great thing. It has such a positive impact on your business in so many ways, not just financial, culturally, and everything that you do. It brings a different level of purpose. So I'd encourage you to go on the website and reach out and see how you can be part of creating these solutions that we need to take our Inland Empire region and the city of Riverside into a successful future. Thank you for watching.